Before we get started, I just want to say that I picked up this game right here. I didn't get to show it off on my streams, so here you go. Here's the Steelbook. It's pretty freaking cool. I know this has absolutely nothing to do with the episode at hand, but I couldn't think of a skit ahead of time, so we're doing this instead. Play this game. It's really good. Hey everyone, Brobuscus here, and welcome back to another Let's Watch a Death Battle. Today's episode, we got a very interesting one indeed. We've got Sauron from Lord of the Rings versus the Lich King from World of Warcraft. Now, I should note before we get into it, there should be a link in the description below. You can go watch the actual episode yourself. Go support the official release before watching some random guy on YouTube react to it, alright? Got it? Cool. So, yeah, I mean, I don't... Admittedly, this is a match where I don't really have a lot to comment on. Well, first off, I want to say this has nothing to do with this episode, but it is hot up here. Just thought I'd get that out there. I don't really know. Like this, that just goes to show how much I can say about this episode. Yeah. I mean, okay. So Sauron. I mean, I think everybody has at least heard of the Lord of the Rings. I know there was kind of a joke of like who's Sauron? I say it was a joke, but there were genuinely people who didn't know who Sauron was. But I think everybody's at least heard of Lord of the Rings, like the franchise. So I guess it's just not a very discussed universe in a versus sense. But I mean, okay, what do I know about these characters? Kind of the bare minimum, to be honest. I mean, I've seen the first two Lord of the Rings movies. I liked the first one, and I couldn't really get into the second one. I have not played World of Warcraft. I need to fix my camera. I had to move my monitors around because of a tech issue I ran into while streaming Sonic Frontiers. Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit of digging on both Sauron and the Lich King leading up to this, but admittedly my knowledge is pretty basic. So a lot of what I can really say about this comes from like general discussions I've paid attention to, which is to say there's a lot of hearsay for this matchup, and also the fact that we only had the 2 weeks of research. Good chance there's a lot of big stuff that we missed. I say we as if I was involved much. I wasn't. Yeah, I really don't know what I can say much about this. As far as like, you know, this stuff is concerned, as far as who I want to win, I mean, I don't really have a horse in the race regardless. I guess if I had to pick one, I would rather see win. I guess Sauron? Yeah, I mean, just the general, like, I've seen Lord of the Rings, and I've seen the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. I didn't get anything out of the Two Towers, but I've got a bit of enjoyment out of Fellowship of the Ring, and then I haven't really played World of Warcraft much. I looked up a few cinematics. I watched the, what was it, the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic, the one that, you know, the super iconic one, and that was really good. I thought that was really cool. Other than that, I don't really have much on this. So I guess just personal experience. I gotta go with Sauron. Who I think will win? That's an even trickier question to figure out. Reading up on the G1 prediction blog, I kind of am starting to lean towards Sauron a little bit. But like, there's not like I said, there's a lot of hearsay on their general stats. Best I've heard is that they are even, in which case it would come down to their powers and experience and whatnot. Sauron is easily more experienced than Arthas. But then there's the question of, like, you know, could Arthas destroy the One Ring? Because that's the big thing that I had a question about. Because from what I understand, so both of them have like devices or pieces of equipment or whatever that, like, if you destroy them, they die. Like, if you destroy them, the bearer dies. Like, if you destroy the One Ring, that's the end of Sauron. If you destroy Frostmourne or the helmet for the Lich King, then he dies. From what I've heard, if they are even in stats, then Arthas can't destroy the One Ring. It's just too powerful. But even with that in mind, like, Arthas needs to destroy a single small ring. Sauron has to destroy either the giant sword or the very obvious helmet. Just based on that alone, I kind of feel like, I mean, differences in durability aside, I feel like it's more likely for Sauron to destroy either Frostmourne or the helmet just really by accident. Like, not knowing that if he did that, it would kill the Lich King. I've also heard the argument, like, can the ring corrupt Arthas? And in that regard, I feel like maybe, I mean, Arthas became the Lich King because he was corrupted by Frostmourne in the first place. That's kind of my line of thinking anyway. It's like, Arthas is smart, but from everything I've gathered, which admittedly isn't a lot, I'm definitely going to be relying on this episode to make my final judgment. Like, Arthas is, like, the ring's corruption is a little bit more passive. And it also is very effective against those who already have quite a bit of negativity in their hearts. And, like, everything Arthas has done and has thought about is kind of like checking off all the boxes for what the ring can corrupt. So admittedly, my reasoning isn't the greatest, but just the idea of the ring corrupting Arthas, Arthas not being able to, or really thinking about, hey, I should destroy that ring. It's kind of leaning me towards Sauron. Plus Sauron's experience and tactics. It seems like both of them are pretty even in stats. Both of them have hacks that the other can resist. So really, for me, it's just the experience and the corruption that's kind of leading me towards Sauron. So I'll go with that for now, but watching the analyses, I will probably get a better picture. So with that, let's stop wasting time, put these on, and jump right in. Play.
Sauron, the Lord of the Rings.
The Lich King, Warcraft's Lord of the Scourge.
Evil has many shapes, but few can match the presence of these kings of blight and shadow.
It's going to be interesting to see them talk about these two franchises.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
The preview was very promising as well.
Within the timeless halls, at the dawn of creation, the supreme god Eru and his angelic Ainur created all of existence through a single harmonious song.
But one of these angels just had to be a rebel. Melkor ruined that harmony, giving the world its many, many imperfections, like Wiz. Then after messing up God's hit single and going rogue, Melkor took up a new name just to be even more metal. Morgoth.
Morgoth's power was impressive, daunting. Several Maiar, essentially lower-ranked angels, joined him in his frightening conquest of the world he had helped create. create.
And the greatest of these followers was one obsessed with destroying all life in the pursuit of bringing about complete order.
He used to be Myron, but under Morgoth's reign, he became the one and only Sauron.
As the bigwig of Morgoth's forces, Sauron spent thousands of years bringing Middle-earth to its knees.
He's almost more a force of nature than anything else, able to create infernos, cause country-spanning earthquakes, and even absorb souls.
Build it later.
Because he's a weird angel spirit man, he can morph his body around his own soul however he wants, or just shed it like clothing and fight as a ghost.
He can morph far beyond that. He has appeared as something akin to both man and elf, attractive and devious. A werewolf, once thought to be the greatest wolf of all, and even a vampire.
Oh man, Tumblr's gonna go nuts with that.
Many of his greatest accomplishments are not due
Okay.
to powerful magics and weaponry, but his inhuman cunning. Sauron is nothing less than a master of manipulation.
He's like if Loki
True.
and Satan did a fusion dance. He loves
Also
to trick
true.
someone with illusions, shadow magic, or just by toying with their sad, predictable, pathetic human emotions. Like when he convinced Saruman to join the evil side, who was basically a super wizard specifically meant to lead the charge against Sauron.
In some ways, Sauron is actually wiser than the master he served. In the most epic war to eclipse all other wars, humans, dwarves, elves, and more united to destroy Morgoth, casting what remained of Melkor into the void.
But Sauron saw it coming and bailed faster than me at a divorce hearing, just to show back up centuries later in the fiery pits of Mordor.
There, the Dark Lord created a plan to conquer everything. He fooled the Elven Smiths into forging 19 rings of power and planted them among the leaders of Elven, man, and Dwarven kind, all controlled by another ring he made in secret.
The one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Oh god, that's so epic. Think I'm into poetry now. Forged in the fires of Mount Doom using part of Sauron's own soul, the One Ring amplified his power and let him control the minds and actions of the other ring bearers.
The 9 kings of men were especially vulnerable and saw themselves reduced to twisted wraiths bent to Sauron's whims.
It wasn't any better for the less kingly humans, so much so that Sauron mind-controlled most of Numenor. We're talking about an island nation that could have had as many as 18 million people, and Sauron had them all at his creepy, pokey fingertips.
This led to retaliation from Eru, who had hardly directly intervened ever before, even against Morgoth. Eru sank Numenor, while Sauron was still on it. But the Dark Lord's spirit persevered, indestructible even against the wrath of God.
Sauron used the ring to build himself a new body. It may have cost a lot of power, but he took a biblical event to the face and went right back on to being evil.
And yet,
Wow.
so much power into one object did have drawbacks.
Which hit back hard when Isildur subtracted a digit from his hand.
The Warrior King did more than just cut off a finger. He took the ring and its power for himself. This act forced Sauron to retreat as a disembodied spirit, threatened by his own power in the hands of another. And should the One Ring be destroyed completely, Sauron's spirit could be rendered impotent beyond repair. It isn't all bad, though. The ring can turn you invisible, create visions of impending doom, and has one hell of a defense mechanism.
Yeah, who'd want to destroy it when it makes you want it? Has a will of its own, with promises whispered even the best of us can't refuse. The greatest poultry dinner ever, Boomstick. Bourbon, pecan, parmesan, turducken. It's so precious.
What did you just do?
What? It sounded delicious. Well, ring or no
Okay,
ring,
okay.
Sauron's a beast. He's swatted away armies of soldiers and erupted Mount Doom through sheer willpower. He has total control over his own being and can modify his soul at will. So he can definitely resist someone like spooky ghost Celebrimbor trying to dominate his spirit.
And being among the strongest Maiar, the peak of Sauron's power is beyond that of Ose, a lesser Maya, which is specifically important because Ose single-handedly raised the island of Numenor.
Yeah, remember that island that got Noed? That place. No wonder everyone wants his ring. Who could turn down that much power?
Not Isildur. The hearts of men are easily corrupted, and he kept the ring rather than destroy it. But in the end, the ring destroyed him and waited for its master's return.
Sauron was rebuilding Mordor into a world-conquering force. And after a little bit of good old-fashioned torture, he found out the ring was in the Shire. The chillest, coziest, dopest place imaginable. Ah, man, when I retire, I'm gonna go live in a hobbit hole and just get lit 24/7.
And so began the War of the Ring. Sauron's forces covered the land, seeking both the ring and the downfall of man, always shadowed by the symbol of his ever-present influence, the Eye of Sauron.
It was a slaughter fest. Middle-earth stood no chance. Everybody basically accepted death by orcs as inevitable. It was hopeless. The kingdoms of men would finally fall for good.
Save for the Dark Lord's truest weakness. Sauron's cunning and stratagems were impressive, sure, but ultimately, he never truly understood the people of Middle-earth. In his mind, absolute power was factually irresistible. He never imagined a mere mortal could ever, or would ever, seek to actually destroy the One Ring.
Against all odds and a whole lot of walking, Sauron was defeated. Not by the sparkling
lot of
king
walking.
or the armies of Middle-earth, but by the
Facts.
most unlikely creature imaginable, Elijah Wood.
Yet, even as a formless shadow,
No, not Elijah Wood.
was one of domination, treachery, and most of all, fear. Fitting for the being that represents, and I quote, as near an approach to the wholly evil will as is possible.
Okay.
The distant planet of Draenor, destruction was imminent. The orc shaman Ner'zhul prepared a spell with his followers to tear the planet asunder, all to escape the fury of the demon lord Kil'jaeden.
But when Ner'zhul waltzed through the portal, Kil'jaeden was right there waiting for him.
Ner'zhul
Oops.
was forced to serve Kil'jaeden's will to ravage another world, Azeroth. Thus, he was transformed into the first Lich King.
This Lord of the Dead was sent to the continent of Northrend, but Kil'jaeden had one more twist for poor Zul. His body was gone, leaving just his spirit, which was bound to a set of armor sealed within a prison of magical ice. Man, this guy can't catch a break. Armor
No,
looks
not
sick.
really.
He's gonna possess me if I put that on, huh?
From his frozen prison, the Lich King
Foreshadowing.
began his conquest, conjuring an unstoppable plague of undeath. Soon, this would threaten the lives of the kingdom of Lordaeron.
Okay, so that was a lot, but here's where our main guy finally shows up. Lordaeron's crown prince and holy knight, Arthas Menethil. Yeah, his name does kind of sound like something your doctor would give you for fungus, but hey, no. Arthas was a badass. At 19 years
I mean,
old,
it kind of does.
he was the best swordsman in the world, and had mastered nearly every weapon he could.
Interned
Even
at
with such a
Blizzard in
skilled warrior as
2017.
its prince,
What?
Lordaeron was already severely pressured by a war with an orcish horde, so a zombie plague was the last thing Arthas needed. Compounding this even further, Ner'zhul managed to break free of Kil'jaeden's power and turned his attention toward creating a champion to lead his ever-growing Scourge. Naturally, he chose Arthas.
Who was a stressed
Yeah,
out
of
mess.
course. I mean, why wouldn't you?
He tried to stop the plague by killing everyone in his own city. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, he was totally losing it. So hearing a creepy voice in his head really didn't help.
Long
No.
story short, in his efforts to protect his realm, Arthas discovered a rune blade and took it for himself. This was the fearsome Frostmourne.
Surprise! It's the source of the Lich King's power. He was stealing
Shocker.
souls and storing them within the blade. With this new ice-cold cleaver in hand, Arthas lost his soul and got a Death Knight makeover.
And so the former hero of light would lead the very Scourge he previously fought.
And in time, Arthas would don the armor for himself, giving the Lich King a new, ultimate power. Walking!
Remember, everything the Lich King had done up until this point had been from his prison within a literal block of ice.
And this new Sauronite armor, wait, no, Saronite armor, is the best. What was it doing stuck in ice all this time when it's made of old god blood and self-repairs? Screw you, blacksmith, you're never taking my hard-earned gold. I'll never have to get naked and die again.
By donning this dark
Anyways.
helm, Ner'zhul and Arthas fused to become one, a being far more powerful than either had been before.
He could effortlessly cover cities in ice storms, murder hundreds with the power of shadow, and learn all of your secrets with the Eye of Acheris.
Azeroth's fate was sealed. Everyone was doomed.
See this guy? He's Illidan, a 15,000
Okay.
year old demon hunter with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. As a Death Knight, Arthas
Also
can
as a
take him
gargoyle.
down even after fighting through a massive army to get to him. Against this new Lich King, Illidan never stood a chance.
This is important because Illidan had absorbed the power of Gul'dan, an orc warlock who, alongside his followers, raised the Broken Isles out of the sea. A massively powerful feat.
Sounds familiar.
The fact that Arthas, a mortal guy, beat him up is a big deal. Just imagine how kick-ass he'd be in full control of the undying Lich King powers. Oh wait, we don't have to.
Ner'zhul may have
Yeah.
pulled Arthas' strings up until this point, but he had made a drastic miscalculation. Within the mind of the Lich King, Arthas battled Ner'zhul for control and won. The power of Frostmourne, of the Scourge, of Undeath itself was now under the command of Arthas.
And by this point, he was just done. Like, with everything. We've all had one of those days, right? Where you see all of humanity is so pathetic they can only be saved by just killing them all, so you rip out your own heart.
Yeah, definitely.
relatable.
Determined
Yeah.
to end all life, Arthas led his Scourge across Azeroth, spreading the plague to every corner of the world. He slaughtered every contender in his path, including legendary champions like this hero of the Horde, Dranosh Sarfang.
Who the Lich King bitch slapped to death in one hit, then zombified to serve him instead. Man, that didn't go well.
The Lich
No.
King seemed unstoppable.
Only one thing could take him down. A 25-man raid team of the best nerds World of Warcraft servers had to offer. And that one guy who was just there because he was friends with somebody, but damn, he sucked.
With these heroes triumphant, the Paladin Tyrion shattered Frostmourne with an equally legendary blade, ending the Lich King's vile reign.
But the Scourge doesn't work on Phantom Menace battle droid rules, so there must always be a Lich King to keep the relentless undead in check.
Yet no Lich King before or since ever matched the terror and malice Arthas brought to Azeroth.
Without a doubt, one of the most terrifying kings to ever conquer the world of Warcraft.
Nice.
All right, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for an undeath battle!
Pause. They really do like subverting the it's time for a death battle in this season, don't they? Or the second half of the season anyway. So I think I've been swayed. I think I'm gonna go with the Lich King. So a couple things of note. So both of them raised islands out of the water, but it seemed like to me, maybe I read it wrong, maybe I misheard, but it sounded to me like the people that Sauron scales to, like they lifted up a single island, whereas Arthas, the people that he scales to, has lifted several. Maybe there's a size difference that they didn't cover. I don't know. I think the big problem I'm faced with right now is that it didn't seem like they covered very many like feats of power, or like they don't give me a lot of numbers anymore. I also don't think they talked about speed like at all. Again, maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't recall them ever talking about speed at all. But also I noticed in a tab in a sidebar for Arthas, it said like he like, what was it again? Yeah, destroyed a prison that endured planet-shaking attacks. Yeah. So that, I just feel like maybe I missed something for Sauron, but that sounded more powerful than what they gave than what they gave him. So the big thing though, oh, actually no. Well, I mean, yes, but they said in a tab for the ring that like it survived like a I forget the number. It was in like the triple-digit gigatons range. I noticed that in a tab. So like the ring, like it did absolutely nothing to it. But the big question that's still like on my mind right now is what will they like? What would they consider a death for Sauron? Like if Lich King destroys Sauron's physical form, but he can just regrow himself from the ring. I imagine that's how it works. Then would Sauron be able to continue, or would that just be the end of it? Like he'll rise eventually, but as of now, the Lich King won. I don't know. I mean, it just sounds more likely to me that the Lich King wins this, so I'm gonna go with him. I kind of just want to watch this fight because the preview was really promising, and I'm just really curious who wins and who's next, because those last two questions, I have no idea. So I'm gonna go with the Lich King. Let's see what he can do. I'm still rooting for Sauron, though. Play. I do really like the visuals of this fight. This is a very pretty episode.
I shall claim what is mine. In this cold north, you will find only death.
Is it just me, or did they play Sauron's line a bit earlier than in the preview? Anyways. And preview ends right around here. Snowball. Whoa, wolf. Giant wolf.
I'll tear out your heart. You will find nothing.
That sounds depressing.
Your efforts are for naught.
Ooh.
I see you.
Oh, now things are getting interesting. Oh. Oh, ow. Wait. What's going on?
You serve me now. I serve no one.
No. Okay.
Witness the prophecy of your doom.
Oh, man. Oh.
There is no life in the void. Only death.
Did he win? Wow.
KO! Well, if he wasn't all powerful before, look out for supercharged Sauron now.
Despite the Lich King's impressive power, Sauron's might was absolute.
But not before he got the duel of his life in a crazy close bout. First up, both Dark Lords could counter pretty much any mind or soul-screwing powers, making a lot of
Sure.
their usual tricks way less noteworthy in this match.
To be fair, the Lich King severely debilitated Sauron via his plague of undeath. Most physical bodies would not survive such a disease.
So Sauron just got rid of his body. Who needs it? Especially when you can rebuild one or just start fighting as a ghost. Both things Sauron could do.
After all, the plague is intended for organic mortal enemies and has never infected a spirit.
Another smaller point for
Oh, he is
Sauron
more
was his
powerful.
weakness. The Lich King was a clever bastard, but even with the Eye of Icarus, it would have been tough for him to decode and destroy the One Ring. Meanwhile, given enough power, Sauron would naturally end up destroying Frostmourne. He's kinda got a thing for breaking swords.
So let's
True.
compare their power. While their highest limits are certainly nebulous, interestingly enough, some of the most impressive feats from both worlds involve lifting islands. As Sauron is a more powerful Maya than Osei, and the Lich King could reliably defeat someone with Gul'dan's magic, it is possible to gauge the difference in power by measuring the islands that were raised.
Keep in mind, Gul'dan had a bunch of help, so we're only giving him his share. Turns out, Osei was doing twice the work.
By examining official maps to determine the volume of the islands, we found a difference between lifting 2 quadrillion tons of rock versus 4 quadrillion tons.
Oh.
Among further energy required to actually lift these through the ocean, of course. Both impressive, sure, but Sauron had the edge.
And for the final nail in the coffin, the Lich King might have been super scary, but he really wasn't around for all that long. At least not when compared to the experience Sauron has warring with the world for thousands of years.
The Lich King certainly posed a threat to Sauron, but the ruler of Mordor's awesome might, enduring spirit, and millennia of treachery proved him the superior Dark Lord.
Wow!
Is that it?
What? Are you sour on the pun? I was pretty keen about it.
The winner is Sauron.
Wow. All right.
Hey, if you want
General
more
consensus
Death Note
was
ASAP,
wrong.
Why not grab a membership? You'll get exclusive emotes, badges, live chat, live streams, and a bunch of behind the scenes.
Okay, what's
Click that
next?
join button. Thanks for watching.
Deku. Wait, what? Huh. Deku versus Asta. Asta? I don't know. I had never watched Black Clover. Okay, that is not the matchup I was expecting for Deku to I was expecting Deku to get. Okay, wow, Z-Dog's gonna have a field day with that one. Deku is one of his favorite characters. Rip Deku versus Miles even further though, jeez. You know, just in case you didn't get the picture, whatever. Okay, well, I mean, interesting match, I guess. I don't know much about Asta, so, I mean, I guess I kind of want Deku to win, because, like, I mean, I know him. I don't know much about Asta at all. I kind of thought they would put Asta against that guy from, shoot, what, Seven Deadly Sins, that's what it was. I think it's Seven Deadly Sins anyway. I mean, I wish I could say who I think wins this, cause but I don't know anything about Asta, whatever. I feel bad that I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but I mean, I guess I need to watch Black Clover now. Hope it's good. So yeah, I'll have to look into that because that's a matchup that I haven't really heard much about before. Well, getting into this one, this is a cool fight. I like this one. Just the general, like, I think when they're like actually like engaging in general combat, like close combat with each other, it's fine, but it is a little wonky. But it's when they get into like their big flashy powers and like there's that eye stare down. I'm like, okay, that is cool. And just I love when when Sauron like he erupts the volcano and then there's like this color clash. Like you get like this blue for Arthas and then this red for Sauron. I thought that was generally pretty cool. So, and just I mean, I'm not exactly like shocked that Sauron won. I was going for him before the episode came out, before this episode came out, before I started watching it, but But it's just kind of interesting to me whenever they do a fight like this and they go against what is generally considered the popular consensus, because everyone, from my experience, everyone seemed, at least a good chunk of people seem to be going for the Lich King. I feel bad for Tarok though, because he was so wanting Arthas to win this, but oh well. I hope he's a good sport about it. I'll have to check up on him. Maybe I'll watch his reaction. I say maybe. I'm gonna watch his reaction. So yeah, I don't really have. I mean, okay, actually, I like the voices a lot. It was Ryan Solis as Sauron and Philip Sacramento as Lich King. He died again. Philip Sacramento cannot catch a break on this show because he was the voice of Yoda, Akuma, and Aizen. The man just can't catch a win. That's depressing. I saw a lot of people when they heard Sauron's voice for the first time was like, man, did they get Sean Chiplock because he sounds like Noob Saibot? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I can't argue with that. Yeah, not really a lot to say. I think the ending was pretty neat. It wasn't like anything majorly crazy, but it was neat. I thought the fight looked really pretty. I liked the voices. I liked the music. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. I guess I probably have more if I was more interested in the characters, but the next one is probably going to be where mostly for Deku. I don't even like my modern My Hero, so that'll be something. I have to tell my sister about that because she is a huge My Hero fan. I actually am kind of surprised that they're using Deku so soon. I guess My Hero is almost over, so whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for me. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. So with that is all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.